chosen ones. They rejected you with such arrogance that the universe itself stopped to witness what would happen next. That moment when their dismissal cut through you like ice, when they decided you weren't worth their time based on nothing more than a glance, a stereotype, a surface-level assumption that couldn't have been more wrong. Right now, as these words reach you, the person who rejected you is discovering they dismissed their own miracle. The script you're about to flip isn't just about revenge or validation. It's about the instant reversal that occurs when someone rejects divine royalty, thinking they're dismissing a peasant. Picture a king disguised as a beggar, rejected at the gates of his own kingdom, only to return moments later wearing his crown while the guards fall to their knees in horror at what they've done. The rejection happened fast. Their mind created an entire narrative about you in seconds. One look at your surface and they thought they knew your whole story. Maybe it was that job interview where they glanced at you and decided you weren't the type. Perhaps it was that relationship where they treated you like you should be grateful for crumbs while they feasted on your energy. Could have been that opportunity where they saw your quietness and mistook it for emptiness, your kindness for weakness, your struggles for permanent failure. The arrogance wasn't subtle. It dripped from their words, their body language, their dismissive energy that tried to make you feel small. But here's what they didn't know. Their arrogance was actually fear in disguise. Their own insecurities made them need to look down on you because deep down, something in them recognized what you carried, and it terrified them. First, understand the divine setup that just occurred. When they rejected you, they activated something ancient, a spiritual law that states when the chosen are rejected by the arrogant, the reversal begins immediately, not eventually, not someday. The moment their rejection left their lips, the universe began orchestrating their education. You felt the pain. Yes, the betrayal cut deep. But while you were feeling that pain, seeds were being planted in the spiritual realm. Seeds that would grow so fast, so powerful, that the person who rejected you wouldn't even have time to celebrate their perceived victory before realizing their mistake. The reason their rejection felt so intense wasn't just because it hurt. It was because your spirit knew you were meant for something they could never provide anyway. Think about it. Every time they dismissed you, they were actually freeing you. Every time they underestimated you, they were setting up their own humiliation. Every assumption they made about your worth was actually revealing their own worthlessness in recognizing value. They thought they were the ones with power, the ones making choices, the ones determining worth. But chosen ones operate in a different dimension, where human rejection is just divine redirection in disguise. Second, the transformation that's happening inside you right now started the moment they turned away. You didn't crumble like they expected. Instead, something else happened. You went inward. Deep introspection became your teacher. In that silence they mistook for defeat, you were actually rebuilding yourself from blueprints they couldn't read if they tried. Old wounds from childhood started healing. Toxic patterns started breaking. Limiting beliefs started dissolving. The version of you that needed their validation began dying, and something far more powerful started emerging. They thought your quietness meant emptiness, but you were actually in metamorphosis. Like a butterfly in a cocoon, what looked like stillness from the outside was actually the most profound transformation happening within. Here's where the story gets interesting. While you were transforming in private, they were about to witness something in public that would shake them to their core. Remember, the universe has perfect timing. It doesn't just vindicate chosen ones, it does so in ways that leave no room for doubt. The very qualities they dismissed in you started surfacing in ways they couldn't ignore. That stability they thought you lacked, you started radiating it. That intelligence they assumed you didn't have, it began manifesting in undeniable ways. That maturity they overlooked, it became so evident that everyone around you started noticing what they missed. Third, the script flip happened in stages, each one more shocking to them than the last. Stage 1 was your immediate response. Instead of begging for their acceptance, you accepted yourself. Instead of chasing their validation, you validated your own worth. This alone confused them because they expected you to crumble, to chase, to prove yourself to them. But you did something they didn't anticipate. You walked away. Not in defeat, but in recognition that what they offered was beneath what you deserved. This was the first crack in their arrogance. Stage 2 was the rapid movement forward that caught everyone off guard. While they expected you to be stuck in the pain of their rejection, you were actually accelerating toward your destiny. Opportunities started appearing that aligned with your true worth. People who could recognize real value started gravitating toward you. Success began manifesting not because you were trying to prove them wrong, but because you finally stopped letting wrong people determine your worth. The speed of your elevation made their heads spin. How could someone they just rejected be rising so fast? Stage 3 was the public vindication that made their private rejection look foolish. Other people started celebrating what they dismissed. Your gifts became visible to those who mattered. Your transformation became undeniable to anyone watching. The same qualities they mocked or overlooked became the very things others praised and rewarded. It wasn't just that you succeeded. It was that your success highlighted their failure to recognize obvious treasure. Everyone could see what they missed, and the embarrassment was palpable. If this message hits your spirit, hype this video so more chosen ones like you can find it. Fourth, let's talk about what's really happening in their mind right now. They're not just regretting their decision. They're having a complete paradigm shift about who you are. The narrative they created about you in seconds is crumbling as reality forces them to see truth. You weren't weak. You were kind. You weren't empty. You were deep. You weren't unintelligent. You were operating on levels they couldn't comprehend. Every assumption they made is being reversed, and the psychological impact is devastating to their ego. They built their sense of superiority on the foundation of your supposed inferiority. Now that foundation is cracking, and their whole identity is shaking. The divine orchestration goes deeper than surface-level success. What's happening is a complete reversal of the power dynamic they thought they established. They believed they were in the position of power when they rejected you, thought they were the ones with options while you were desperate for their acceptance. But the universe has a way of revealing truth, and the truth is you were always the powerful one. You just didn't know it yet, and neither did they. Your power wasn't in your ability to force acceptance. It was in your ability to transform rejection into resurrection. Fifth, the abundance flowing into your life now isn't random. It's the harvest from seeds planted in your darkest moments. Financial abundance arriving because you learned to generate wealth from within first. Relationships aligning because you stopped accepting emotional crumbs and started expecting emotional feasts. Career opportunities manifesting because you stopped shrinking yourself to fit into boxes too small for your spirit. Every area they touched with their rejection is now being touched by divine multiplication. The universe doesn't just restore what was lost, it multiplies it beyond recognition. But here's the twist they never saw coming. Your transformation wasn't about them. This is what's really destroying their ego. They thought your pain would be about missing them, wanting them, needing them. But your healing journey quickly transcended their rejection. You went deeper than just getting over them. You went into getting over every limiting belief, every toxic pattern, every wound that made you susceptible to their rejection in the first place. You didn't just heal from them, you healed from everything, and that healing made you untouchable. Sixth, understand the spiritual warfare that actually took place. Their rejection wasn't just personal, it was spiritual. There are forces that recognize chosen ones before you even recognize yourself. These forces work through people, creating situations designed to keep you from your destiny. The person who rejected you was being used by energies they didn't even understand. Their arrogance was amplified by spiritual forces that knew what you carried and wanted to stop it. But here's what those forces didn't understand. Rejecting a chosen one doesn't destroy them, it activates them. The activation that occurred in you the moment they rejected you was like a spiritual alarm clock going off. Suddenly you could see clearly. The fog lifted. The confusion cleared. You understood that their rejection wasn't about your worth, but about their inability to perceive worth. This clarity became your superpower. Once you could see the truth, you could never unsee it. Once you understood your value wasn't determined by their validation, you became unstoppable. The very rejection meant to break you became the catalyst for your breakthrough. 7th, let's examine the specific qualities they misjudged, and how those very qualities became your greatest assets. They saw your quietness and thought you were empty, but that quietness was depth, introspection, wisdom gathering in silence. Now that wisdom is manifesting in ways that leave people speechless, they saw your kindness and thought you were weak, but that kindness was strength, choosing gentleness, power choosing peace. Now that strength is evident in your unshakable confidence, they saw your struggles and thought you were failing, but those struggles were training, preparation, refinement for greatness. Now those struggles have become your testimony, your strength, your unbreakable foundation. The emotional intelligence they completely missed is now your secret weapon. While they were judging your surface, you were reading their depths. You understood their insecurities, their fears, their motivations before they even understood them themselves. This is why their rejection couldn't break you. You saw through it. You understood it wasn't about you. It was about them projecting their own limitations onto you. This level of emotional intelligence makes you dangerous in the best way. You can't be manipulated by those who don't even understand themselves. 8th, the resilience you've developed through this process has made you literally unstoppable. They expected their rejection to be your end. Instead, it became your beginning. Every challenge you faced before their rejection had already been preparing you for this moment. The childhood wounds that needed healing, the toxic patterns that needed breaking, the limiting beliefs that needed releasing, all of it was preparation for this massive transformation. They didn't realize they were rejecting someone who had already survived worse and come out stronger. Your ability to keep moving forward shocked them. They expected devastation, but witnessed determination, expected collapse, but saw construction, expected you to beg, but watched you build. This resilience isn't just about being tough. It's about understanding that rejection from the wrong people is protection from the universe. It's about knowing that every no leads to a better yes. It's about trusting that divine timing is always perfect, even when human timing seems cruel. 9th, the synchronicities appearing in your life now are proof of divine orchestration. Doors opening that were previously locked, people appearing who recognize your true value, resources flowing from unexpected sources. These aren't coincidences, they're confirmations that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to do. The rejection didn't derail you from your path, it actually pushed you directly onto it. What felt like a detour was actually a shortcut to your destiny. Meanwhile, the person who rejected you is being forced to witness your elevation from whatever distance they're at. The universe has a way of making sure they see what they missed, maybe through mutual connections talking about your success, perhaps through social media revealing your transformation, could be through direct encounters where they have to face the reality of who you've become versus who they thought you were. The universe doesn't let them escape the education. They have to see it, know it, feel it in their bones that they rejected their own blessing. 10th, your transformation is teaching them a lesson they'll never forget. Not through revenge, but through your revolution. Not through hatred, but through your healing. Every time they remember rejecting you, they'll also remember the moment they realized their mistake. But by then you'll be so far elevated that their regret won't even register in your reality. You're not living to prove them wrong anymore. You're living to prove yourself right. Right about your worth, your purpose, your destiny, that was written before they ever had the chance to reject you. The abundance you're experiencing now goes beyond material wealth. It's abundance of spirit, abundance of peace, abundance of purpose. You're attracting soul connections, not just relationships, divine appointments, not just opportunities, kingdom collaborations, not just networking. Everything has been upgraded because you've been upgraded. The rejection forced you to level up in ways that acceptance never could have. This is the paradox of rejecting a chosen one. The very act meant to diminish them becomes the catalyst for their dominion. 11th, recognize that they knew. Deep down, beneath their arrogance, they knew you were different. That's why the rejection was so harsh, so deliberate, so arrogant. You don't fight that hard against something that doesn't threaten you. Their rejection was actually their fear manifesting as false superiority. They could feel your power even when you couldn't. They could sense your potential even when you doubted it. Their rejection was their attempt to stop what they knew was unstoppable. But you can't stop divine appointment with human disappointment. The bitterness they feel now isn't just about missing out on you. It's about realizing they revealed their own character in the process. They showed themselves to be someone who judges books by covers, who makes assumptions without investigation, who lets arrogance blind them to obvious treasure. This self-revelation is more painful than losing you, because they have to live with who they exposed themselves to be. Meanwhile, you've been exposed too, but what got exposed was your gold, your glory, your divine nature that rejection couldn't tarnish. 12th, the final revelation is this: you've entered a dimension where rejection can't reach you anymore. You've transcended the need for external validation. You've discovered something more powerful than acceptance from others. You've discovered alignment with yourself and the divine. This alignment makes you magnetic to everything meant for you and repellent to everything that isn't. The person who rejected you couldn't access this dimension if they tried. They're still operating in the realm of ego while you've ascended to the realm of purpose. Your story has become a testimony that rejection from the wrong people is just redirection to the right purpose. Your transformation proves that chosen ones don't break under pressure. They become diamonds. Your elevation demonstrates that when divinity backs you, human rejection becomes irrelevant. The script hasn't just flipped, it's been completely rewritten, and you're both the author and the star of this new narrative. As you stand now in your power, understand that this was always the plan. The rejection was scripted into your story as the catalyst for your greatest transformation. The person who rejected you played their role perfectly. They pushed you exactly where you needed to go by showing you exactly where you didn't belong. Their arrogance became your activation. Their dismissal became your divine launching pad. Their underestimation became the fuel for your overcoming. The sweetest part of this reversal is that it happened instantly in spiritual time. The moment they rejected you, your victory was sealed. Everything that followed was just the physical manifestation of what had already been decided in the spiritual realm. They thought they were writing you off, but heaven was writing you up. They thought they were closing a door, but God was opening windows they couldn't even see. They thought they were ending your story, but they were actually starting your legacy. Now everyone can see what they missed. Your transformation is undeniable. Your elevation is unmistakable. Your glow is unprecedented. The same light they tried to dim is now shining so bright, it's illuminating their mistake for all to see. But you're not shining to spite them. You're shining because that's what chosen ones do. They take rejection and turn it into resurrection. They take dismissal and turn it into distinction. They take underestimation and turn it into unstoppable momentum. The person who arrogantly rejected you is now learning the hardest lesson of their life. They're learning what it costs to dismiss divinity in disguise. They're understanding what happens when you reject someone heaven has selected. They're experiencing the weight of regret that comes from letting ego make decisions that wisdom should have made. But their lesson is no longer your concern. You've graduated from needing their recognition. You've evolved beyond requiring their validation. You've ascended past wanting their acceptance. Your focus now is on the abundance flowing to you from all directions, the opportunities aligning with your purpose, the relationships that celebrate your authentic self, the success that comes from being exactly who you were created to be. The rejection that once hurt you has become the story you'll tell to inspire others. The pain that once consumed you has become the power that now drives you. The dismissal that once confused you has become the clarity that now guides you. This is your moment of complete vindication, not because they finally see your worth, but because you finally see it yourself, not because they regret their decision, but because you're grateful for it. Their rejection was the best thing that ever happened to you, because it forced you to discover who you really are. It pushed you to develop resilience you didn't know you had. It activated gifts that were dormant inside you. It connected you to divine power that was always yours but needed activation through adversity. The script has been flipped so completely that what started as your rejection story has become your resurrection story. What began as their power play has become your power display. What opened as your humiliation has closed as your elevation. The same person who rejected you with arrogance is now witnessing your ascension with astonishment. The universe has a poetic justice that never fails to deliver, and in your case, it's delivering beyond what you could have imagined. As we come full circle, remember that opening moment of rejection. Remember how it felt when their arrogance cut through you. Now feel where you are today. Feel the power running through your veins. Feel the confidence radiating from your core. Feel the peace that comes from knowing your worth isn't negotiable. That rejection didn't break you, it built you. That dismissal didn't destroy you, it developed you. That arrogance didn't defeat you, it activated your destiny. The chosen one they rejected no longer exists. In their place stands someone far more powerful, far more purposeful, far more positioned for greatness than the person they dismissed could ever have become. You didn't just flip the script on them. You flipped the script on yourself, on your limitations, on your fears, on everything that once held you back. The rejection was never about them having power over you. It was about you discovering the power within you. Let's go deeper into what's actually happening in the spiritual realm right now. The person who rejected you is experiencing something they can't quite explain. It's not just regret, it's a spiritual unraveling of everything they thought they knew about power, worth, and judgment. Every morning they wake up with this gnawing feeling that they missed something massive. Every achievement they reach feels hollow because they know they had access to something extraordinary and threw it away. The universe has a way of making sure the lesson is learned thoroughly, not superficially. Remember when they first looked at you and made that split-second decision about your worth? That moment is playing on repeat in their mind now, but each time they replay it, they see something new they missed. The depth in your eyes they dismissed as emptiness. The wisdom in your silence they mistook for ignorance. The strength in your gentleness they labeled as weakness. Each replay is torture because they can't change the past, can't unsay the words, can't undo the arrogance that blinded them to obvious treasure standing right in front of them. But here's what's even more powerful. While they're stuck in that loop of regret, you've broken free from every loop that ever held you back. The loop of needing approval, the loop of seeking validation, the loop of questioning your worth based on others' perceptions. You've shattered every cyclical pattern that kept you small, and now you're operating in ascending spirals instead of limiting circles. Each day takes you higher than the last, while they remain stuck in the moment they rejected divinity in disguise. The fascinating part about instant script flipping is that it doesn't always appear instant to human eyes. In spiritual time, the reversal happened immediately, but in human time, it might have taken weeks, months, or even years for the full manifestation. Yet when it clicked for them, when they finally saw what they missed, it felt instant to them. One moment you were the person they dismissed. The next moment, you were someone they couldn't even dream of reaching. That's the divine joke. Time is relative, but revelation hits like lightning. Think about the specific moment when they realized their mistake. Maybe it was seeing you succeed in the very area they said you'd fail. Perhaps it was hearing others praise the qualities they mocked. Could have been witnessing you loved by people they respect, valued by those they admire, celebrated by crowds they wish would notice them. The realization didn't trickle in. It crashed over them like a tsunami of truth they couldn't escape. Their arrogance crumbled in that instant, replaced by the kind of regret that changes people permanently. What they're experiencing now goes beyond normal human regret. It's spiritual torment. Not because you cursed them or wished evil upon them, but because rejecting a chosen one creates its own consequences. They've been marked by their own choice, branded by their own arrogance, sentenced by their own judgment. Every blessing they see flowing to you feels like it was supposed to be connected to them somehow. And it was. They were supposed to be part of your rise, your story, your blessing, but they chose dismissal over discipleship, arrogance over alliance, judgment over journey. The universe is teaching them through contrast now. Every struggle they face, they see you overcoming similar challenges effortlessly. Every closed door they encounter, they watch doors flying open for you. Every rejection they experience makes them remember the rejection they gave you, and now they understand how it feels to be dismissed by those who can't see their value. This isn't karma in the simple sense, it's education through experience, the universe's PhD program in recognizing chosen ones. Here's something wild about your transformation that they're just beginning to understand. You didn't just heal from their rejection, you healed from ancestral patterns that made you vulnerable to it in the first place, generational cycles of seeking validation from those unqualified to give it, bloodline patterns of accepting less than divine standard, inherited beliefs about worth being determined by external sources. Their rejection activated a healing so deep that you didn't just transform yourself, you transformed your entire lineage's trajectory. The abundance flooding your life now has layers they can't even perceive. Financial abundance, yes, but also emotional abundance where you feel feelings fully without drowning, mental abundance where clarity replaces confusion, spiritual abundance where connection to the divine is instant and constant, relational abundance where quality people magnetize to you naturally, creative abundance where ideas flow like rivers. They see the external success, but they can't see the internal revolution that made it all possible. Meanwhile, they're stuck in scarcity mindset, even if they have material wealth, scarcity of spirit, where they feel empty despite having full bank accounts, scarcity of connection where they're surrounded by people but feel alone, scarcity of purpose where success feels meaningless, scarcity of peace where achievement brings no satisfaction. They're learning that rejecting a chosen one doesn't just cost you that person, it costs you access to the abundance frequency they operate on. Your resilience has become legendary in realms they don't even know exist. The spiritual world watches chosen ones closely, and your response to rejection has become a template for transformation. Angels take notes on how you handled the pain. Ancestors celebrate how you broke the patterns. Future generations will benefit from the strongholds you demolished. You didn't just overcome personal rejection, you overcame principalities that have held your bloodline back for centuries. The synchronicities in your life aren't random. They're rewards for passing the test. Every time you chose healing over hatred, the universe noted it. Every time you selected growth over grievance, heaven marked it. Every time you picked purpose over pity, destiny recorded it. Now those choices are paying dividends in the form of perfect timing, divine connections, and opportunities that seem too good to be true, but are actually too true to be good enough for what you really deserve. Let's talk about the weight of what they actually rejected. They didn't just reject a person with potential. They rejected someone carrying solutions to problems they don't even know they have yet. Someone holding keys to doors they'll desperately need opened. Someone with access to dimensions they'll never reach alone. Someone whose presence alone would have elevated their entire existence. They rejected their own upgrade, their own elevation, their own transformation by proximity. You've got to understand the magnitude of your current position. You're not just succeeding, you're operating in overflow. Not just surviving, you're thriving in ways that redefine the word. Not just moving forward, you're quantum leaping through dimensions of possibility. The person who rejected you is still playing checkers, while you've mastered chess Go and games that haven't even been invented yet. They're still thinking in terms of win or lose while you're thinking in terms of transform or transcend. The protection that came from their rejection is multi-layered. Protected from their limitations that would have held you back. Protected from their small thinking that would have shrunk your dreams. Protected from their fear that would have infected your faith. Protected from their cycles that would have kept you spinning. Protected from their ceiling that would have capped your rise. The rejection wasn't just protection, it was divine intervention preventing contamination of your destiny. Your transformation stands as evidence that chosen ones cannot be stopped by human rejection. Your elevation proves that divine selection trumps human rejection every time. Your story demonstrates that when someone arrogantly rejects you, they're actually rejecting their own blessing, dismissing their own miracle, turning away from their own breakthrough. While they live with that reality, you live with this truth. You were chosen before you were rejected, and being chosen is permanent while rejection is temporary. The script has been flipped. The tables have been turned, and the person who once rejected you with arrogance is now witnessing what happens when you reject divine royalty. They thought they were dismissing a nobody, but they actually dismissed somebody heaven has marked for greatness. They thought they were rejecting weakness, but they actually rejected strength in its quietest form. They thought they were turning away from less than, but they actually turned away from more than they could handle. This is the final word on your rejection story. It's over. The pain is over. The confusion is over. The need for their validation is over. What remains is your elevation, your transformation, your complete and total victory over everything that tried to stop you. The person who rejected you is now a footnote in your success story, a catalyst in your transformation journey, a reminder of how far you've come from who you used to be. You flipped the script, not through revenge but through resilience, not through bitterness but through betterment, not through hatred but through healing, and in doing so, you've proven the ultimate truth. Chosen ones don't need human acceptance when they have divine appointment. You are walking, breathing, living proof that rejection from the arrogant is just promotion from the divine. The script hasn't just been flipped, it's been rewritten entirely, and you're the protagonist in a story far greater than the one they tried to end. I must interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing to put yourself to the test. If you're still here, that means something. But talk is cheap. Real chosen ones take action. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve divine justice. You put on the headphones, press play, and watch your enemies choke on the rope their own lies created. If you're done consuming and ready to prove you're chosen, start your Destiny Engine for $1 today. Join the Obsidian Inner Order live checks and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. The season you're entering now is one of unprecedented manifestation. Everything you thought about, dreamed about, prayed about during those dark nights of rejection is materializing at a speed that defies logic. The universe stored up every tear and is now converting them into treasures. Every moment of pain has been transformed into power. Every second of suffering has been alchemized into success. The exchange rate from pain to power in the divine economy always favors the chosen ones who endure. Listen carefully to what's happening in your life right now. The opportunities appearing aren't random. They're specifically designed to utilize the exact gifts that person rejected. The relationships forming aren't coincidental. They're divinely orchestrated connections with people who see what that person missed. The resources flowing aren't lucky breaks. They're stored up provisions that were waiting for you to reach this frequency of self-worth. Everything happening now is connected to that rejection, but not in the way they thought it would be. They thought rejection would be your story's end. Instead, it became your story's launch. They thought dismissal would be your final chapter. Instead, it became your new beginning. They thought their arrogance would crush your spirit. Instead, it activated your spiritual warrior. They thought their judgment would define your worth. Instead, it refined your understanding of value. Every single thing they thought would break you became the very thing that built you into someone unbreakable. The divine comedy in all of this is that they're now seeking what you have, but they don't even know how to name it. They see your glow but don't understand its source. They witness your peace but can't comprehend its origin. They observe your success but miss the spiritual foundation beneath it. They want the fruits of transformation without going through the process of rejection, resurrection, and renewal. They want the crown without the cross, the testimony without the test, the glory without the story. Your transformation has become a mirror that shows them everything they lack, not because you're trying to reflect their inadequacy, but because authenticity always exposes artifice. Your genuine growth highlights their stagnation. Your real joy exposes their fake happiness. Your true peace reveals their inner chaos. Your authentic connections show their superficial relationships. You've become everything they pretended to be, and the contrast is devastating to their ego. The prophecy over your life that rejection tried to cancel has actually been accelerated. What was supposed to take decades happened in months. What should have required years manifested in weeks. The rejection created a spiritual pressure that turned coal into diamond faster than normal conditions would allow. You've been fast-tracked through dimensions of growth that usually take lifetimes to achieve. This is the gift hidden in the rejection, the acceleration disguised as devastation. Right now, at this very moment, while you're absorbing these words, shifts are happening in realms you can't see, conversations about you in rooms you haven't entered yet, decisions being made in your favor by people you haven't met yet, doors being unlocked that you don't even know exist yet. The person who rejected you has no idea that their rejection set all of this in motion. They thought they were subtracting from your life, but they actually multiplied everything meant for you. The final revelation is this: you needed that rejection to become who you're becoming, not because you deserved it, but because you deserved better than what accepting you would have provided. They couldn't have given you what you're receiving now. Their acceptance would have been a cage disguised as comfort. Their validation would have been a ceiling disguised as shelter. Their approval would have been a limitation disguised as love. The rejection freed you to receive what they could never give. Stand tall in this truth, chosen one. You didn't just survive rejection. You leveraged it for launch. You didn't just overcome dismissal. You transformed it into distinction. You didn't just heal from wounds. You turned them into wisdom. The person who arrogantly rejected you unknowingly became the catalyst for your greatest transformation. They played their role perfectly in your divine story, and now that chapter is closed while your real story has just begun. The script has been flipped so completely that rejection has become your resurrection story, and everyone, including the one who rejected you, is witnessing the glory of your